Good Sunday morning to you. My name is Randy Thompson. I am one of the partners at the Kerrigan Law Firm. I'm glad you're watching us this morning, and I would like to talk to you a little bit about Florida's dog bite laws. Let me give you some statistics concerning dog bites that may interest you. Approximately 4.5 million dog bites occur each year in the United States. The percentages vary, but somewhere between 50 and 70% of those victims are children. Nearly 27,000 bite victims have to undergo some sort of reconstructive surgery as a result of the attack. In the 15-year period from 2005 to 2019, dogs killed 521 Americans, and pit bulls contributed to about 66% of those deaths. The average cost of a dog bite-related hospital visit is $18,200, which is about 50% higher than the average injury-related stay at a hospital. Homeowners insurance carriers paid out $797 million in liability claims to dog bites and other dog-related injuries. You know, sometimes dogs take off running and knock people down. And so that $797 million not only includes dog bites, but other dog-related injuries. So it's a significant issue in the United States, dogs and dog bites and liabilities of the owners. So let me talk to you a little bit about the law in Florida and how it applies and where it came from. Originally, our laws came from England, and we call it common law. And so English common law early on decided that in order for a dog bite victim to be compensated by the dog owner, the victim had to prove not only who owned the dog, but that the dog was dangerous, and that the owner of the dog knew the dog was dangerous because it had bitten someone else before. And then, of course, the victim had to prove their damages, how they were injured by the dog, the amount of medical bills, the amount of future medical treatment, drug prescriptions, antibiotics, that type of stuff, scarring left. But under common law, it was known as the one free bite rule. In other words, a dog owner wouldn't be responsible if you were the dog's first victim. Well, our Florida legislature ultimately decided to change those laws, and they enacted the first changes to common law in the 1890s. And in 1949, our legislatures came up with what is currently Florida Statute 767.04. So you can go into our statute books and you can look at Florida Statute 767.04. Now, it's gone through a lot of revisions and changes from 1949 until now. I think the most recent amendment to the statute was in 1997. But here's what our current Florida statute says about dog bites. The owner of any dog that bites any person while such person is on or in a public place or lawfully on or in a private place, including the property of the owner of the dog, is liable for damages suffered by persons bitten, regardless of the former viciousness of the dog or the owner's knowledge of such viciousness. All right? So that first sentence does away with the one free bite rule. And our court said, well, wait a minute now. If you've got the owner of a dog and some innocent victim who probably doesn't know the dog, shouldn't the burden of the medical expenses and the cost associated with a bite be on the owner of the dog? So it starts off with, all right, we're doing away with the one free bite rule, and the owner of the dog that bites any person is responsible for the damages regardless of whether the dog had ever bitten anyone else. But the legislators went on and they added this. However, any negligence on the part of the person bitten that is a proximate cause of the biting incident reduces the liability of the owner of the dog by the percentage that the bitten person's negligence contributed to the biting incident. All right, what does that mean? It means comparative negligence applies to dog bites. So 6 people on a jury would be asked, well, wait a minute now. Okay, the dog bit, but here's what the victim was doing. He was teasing the dog. He kicked the dog. He startled the dog. He was tempting it with food or whatever, right? So the comparative fault of the person who gets bitten comes into play. Our legislature went on to say these things. However, the owner is not liable except as to a person under the age of 6, or unless the damages are proximately caused by a negligent act or omission of the dog owner, if at the time of any such injury the owner had displayed in a prominent place on his or her property a sign easily readable, including the words "bad dog." All right, what does that mean? So that means the legislators said, all right, but wait, if the dog bite occurs on your property and you have an easily readable, identifiable sign that include the word "bad dog," then the owner of the dog is not responsible unless the victim is under 6 years of age. Okay, well, why is that exception there? Our court said, well, children can't read. I mean, at certain levels, young children, especially under the age of 6, aren't expected to be able to read. So we have that exception in there. But then the legislators went on and said, so if you have a dangerous dog sign on your property, and if the victim is over the age of 6 years old, you still may have some liability if at the time of the injury the owner did something wrong, some omission. What does that mean? There are cases that have been decided by our courts that say, well, wait a minute now. People were invited to a birthday party, and at that birthday party, there were signs up that said "dangerous dog." And the guest said, well, what about these signs? What about these signs? Oh, don't worry about those. We just put those up just to keep people off our property. Don't worry about it. Come on in. The guests come on in, and sure enough, they get bitten. And our courts have said, nope, you don't get to escape liability by having a warning at one hand, but on the other hand saying, oh, disregard it, don't worry about that. There are also other examples where a person who doesn't necessarily own the dog, but knows that the dog is out and loose and around and allows that dog onto the property, and then that dog bites somebody, that homeowner, even though they don't own the dog, if they allow the dog to be there, if they're the guardian of the dog, if they are taking care of the dog, if they know that the dog is there, then that homeowner, even though they don't own the dog, may very well have liability under an insurance policy. The question then is whether the owner of the property has any insurance, and if so, whether that insurance excludes dog bites. More and more now, these insurance companies, homeowners insurance companies, are refusing to provide insurance coverage for dog bites. And so it's specifically excluded. Or when you take out your homeowner's insurance policy, they ask if you have any dogs. And if the answer is yes, then your premiums go up, or they choose to exclude those dogs and any dog bite claims or dog injury claims. So that's some of the basic background of Florida's dog bite law. My name is Randy Thompson, and again, I'm one of the board certified civil trial specialists at the Kerrigan Law Firm. You can find more information about us and our law firm at kerrigan.com. And of course, you're always welcome to email us or call us, and we will do everything we can to try to answer your questions for you. One of the things I'm most proud about and that I talk about a lot is the fact that this law firm is made up of the 5 attorneys that you see on our letterhead, on our billboards. We don't have associates. We don't run a mill where we try to shove as many claims through the process as we can. If you hire me, I'm going to be your lawyer that represents you. It's not going to go down through some other associate or law clerk. It's going to be me. And that's an important thing, that you know your lawyer, that you speak to your lawyer, that you have a contact person so that you can reach out when you have a question to try to understand what's going on. So again, I am Randy Thompson. Our law firm is Kerrigan, Estes, Rankin, McLeod, and Thompson. We bring these shows to you on Sunday mornings, hopefully to give you some education about the legal process. And again, we are always happy to speak to you, either by email or by phone call or text. So please, if you have any questions concerning your legal rights in the state of Florida, concerning personal injury claims, and in this case, dog bites, I'd be happy to talk to you and happy to try to answer any of your questions. Thanks for watching The Law Show, and we'll be right back after this brief commercial break.